Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Play Legit podcast, the premier podcast for gaming and real talk. We are your hosts. I'm Koerri Elijah. I'm here with.
KJ, man.
That's what's up. See, I let you do it because I always say your name for you. I was thinking about it when I was doing some editing. I was like, man, I should let this man say his own name. It's a whole other grown man. He can introduce himself. But what's up, guys? We're back with another fiery podcast for you guys. Like we said last week, we have a very special interview with Intellivision's own Tommy Tallarico. We're going to be covering everything that has to do with the Amico. Very awesome interview that we have going on for you later for you guys today. So stay tuned for that. But we got a couple topics that we want to get into before we do all of that. But before that, I do want to just make sure you guys check out playlegit.net because that's the home, that's the hub, that's where you're going to find everything legit related to gaming and real talk. It's our home. You're going to find the show there. Of course, you're going to find amazing reviews, interviews. We have original content, original articles. We have satire pieces. We have Gremlick, the 8-bit troll that steps out every once in a while as well to give you a chuckle from here and there. So yeah, you're gonna want to check out playlegit.net because that's the home, like I said. But you're also gonna want to check out all of our social media as well. You're gonna have to check out PlayLegit at PlayLegit across the board on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, all of that good stuff. I see KJ. I saw you with the hands flowing and stuff. I was like, you didn't change your handle, did you? I hope you didn't change your handle. But yeah, you're gonna have to check us out on Twitter, on Instagram, on
All
Facebook,
that.
and of course, stop by the YouTube channel as well. That's at the Play Legit Network on YouTube. You're gonna find the podcast there as well as a bunch of other great video content there. Past podcasts, original content, rap ciphers. There's a bunch of stuff on the Play Legit Network YouTube page. So you're going to want to check that out. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell so you'll get notifications whenever you see the podcast goes up, as well as all the other great stuff that we do on that page. So make sure you sub there, like, share, tell all your friends about it because we're talking about all this great gaming related content all the time. And we can talk about other stuff sometimes as well, movies, TV shows, all that cool stuff. Anything that gets kind of nerdy, we typically touch on it. But normally, this is gaming and real talk that we're touching with. So stay legit, hit us up across the board. And as well as that, because we want you to check us out, but we also want you to check out some of our partners as well. Okay. As you guys know, we are podcasters. This is the Play Legit podcast, of course. So clearly, we like the podcast. This isn't the only podcast we've done. We've done podcasts in the past before, but running a podcast and setting it up and having all the equipment that you need and having an interface to share your podcast is a thing that can be very difficult. At least it was. But now you have a great site like Anchor. That's what we use, and you should use it too if you're interested in starting your own podcast, but you don't know where to start or where you should go to curate your amazing episodes that you want to put out for the world to see. It's super easy, and the greatest thing about Anchor is it's free. Not only is it free to use, but they also help you get on other sites, like other platforms that you want to be on as well. Of course, you want to be on iTunes. Of course, you want to be on Spotify. That's where we want it to be. That's where we're at. Want to know why? Because we use Anchor. It's free. They're here to help you out, and you're definitely going to want to use that. You know, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Like I said, they'll help you distribute your podcast so you can be heard all around the world, all over the internet. And they even help you make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's right. So even if it's just you that's listening to your podcast or just your mom, whoever it may be, your best friend, your wife, whoever it is, you don't have to have a minimum listenership. You don't have to have 100,000 people listening to you to be able to make money with Anchor. So if you want a podcast, you want to live your dreams, you want to get a show where you can actually make money and spread it out to the world, then Anchor is the spot that you're going to want to go to help get your podcast off its feet. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Do it today. Tell them that Koerri and KJ sent you. And as soon as you got your first episode recorded and shared, let us know. Hit us up in the comments below. We love to critique people and give information. Maybe we can help each other out with our podcast, So check out anchor.fm. It is the spot where you're going to want to go if you're thinking about starting a podcast. That's what we use. That's what you should use as well. Anchor.fm.
How much was that? How much?
Free 99.
What?
Absolutely free. That's why you're not going to want to miss out on anchor.fm. Who knows? Maybe they'll change it after a bunch of people start signing up. So you're going to want to sign up now while it's still free. Hopefully it doesn't change because, we use it as well. But it's an awesome app. It's an awesome interface. Very, very intuitive. I love using it. It's the easiest thing that I've used so far to help distribute all of the podcasts. We have all the tools that you need in that one spot. So check out anchor.fm. It's super dope. I'm glad we use it, and you should use it as well. Yeah, so let's get on into some great topics before we get into the interview. Now, we don't want this to be too long for you because the interview is going to be a nice lengthy interview for you guys. So we're just going to briefly just cover some topics. First thing.
Hey, Tori. Hey, Koerri.
Yeah.
I got something to tell you, man.
What's up, man?
Hey, man. I heard about Elder Scrolls 6. Now, you were looking forward to playing that, but I've uncovered some news that you're going to be waiting years. Sorry, buddy.
Years, huh?
Years, dog.
Years? Like it's not even started? Like they made it seem like they started, but it's not even started yet years?
That it seems like they probably got together some concept art, and that's about it.
Oh man. Well, that is horrible news. Just because I mean, we had a whole podcast on this before, but I mean, what titles are we gonna have? How long are we gonna have to wait into this gen to actually utilize? Should I just hold down my PlayStation 4 for? Should I just hold on my PlayStation 4 for a another year or two before I upgrade, or what should I do? That's super crazy, man.
I saw that concept video utilizing the Unreal Engine 5 running on a PS5, and so I hear what you're saying, but I'm also thinking like, man, should I invest now as soon as possible on the PS5? Because when I saw that video and that girl doing all that cool stuff, I said, man, I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready. I'm ready for what the next gen has.
Oh yes, Unreal Engine 5 does look amazing. I was just randomly scrolling, I saw a post from PlayStation, and I was like, oh, wow, okay, first look at PS5. Wasn't expecting this. Everybody was like, you know how we've been like, hey, we need to see something though. Like you've been saying all this fancy stuff, all these lingos about these different engines and all of this, all this stuff. What's this gonna look like? And even though it wasn't necessarily officially from Sony, it did come up on it did. Well, I mean, I guess it is official, not from Sony, but someone in collaboration with Sony, Unreal in collaboration with Sony, and it looks great. I think they said 100 billion triangles were used to kind of like make up the environment. It basically has like an artificial sun that works as the actual sun. Scarves move, like your fingers scrolling across like a wall moves like an actual hand. Like it looks great. Like I was wondering what it's gonna look like. It looks fantastic.
That was when I thought next gen. Now, seeing the Xbox Series X stuff again, like that's indicative of what we're going to see on both systems. So you can put both of them in the same umbrella. When the launch games come out, a lot of them are going to look like that, and that's just what it is. But when I thought next gen, in my head, what I saw was what we saw today from this video. Just seeing her in that rocky area, those caverns, and the light hitting off the rocks and all that. I mean, it absolutely looked 100% real to me. It really did, and that was essentially what I had in my head for next gen. But I'm also thinking, what about the PS6 and on? I'm thinking like, I feel like we have now, this system might be the wall. This or maybe one other system after that, because how much more realistic can it be after this? I mean, it's just, my goodness, like what else can we do, Koerri? Help me out.
Right, with when it comes to like engines, how things move, when it comes to like AI in the games, how the environments interact with each other, how things are populated and all of that stuff, there's not much more that you can do. I get what you're saying 100%. Like once you have movement down to a T, once you have AI that can interact, like it's basically just like a human inside of a video game that can make decisions and stuff like that. What else can you do? The only thing else other than that is graphics, you know? And to a certain point, it's like until a video game looks like an actual real person, there's always going to be room for improvement. But I mean, other than like that's only going to be like the GPU power. So at a certain point, like the processing ability is gonna, yeah, I mean, it's not gonna have to increase. It's really just gonna be the graphics, how those are rendered and handled. Is gonna be the only thing that I can see extending a life. But that's basically just like a simple part swap where you won't even need a new console. That's where I see consoles going into like the realm of like a PC, where it's like, okay, well, the only thing that you really need to change is a new GPU every 2 years or whatever it may be, and then you're not buying a console, you're just swapping that out. But I digress. Things are looking amazing. I'm super pumped for it. I can't wait to see like an actual demo of a game that we'll actually be able to play, because it looks great. But I mean, they specifically were targeting certain things, so I'd like to see some of the other things that it can do, and some of the stuff some of the devs might come up with to utilize some of those things. Based off
Oh,
of the features. I mean, they could have games just designed right off of it, just based off of that alone. So.
I was gonna say, like they always do their Unreal Tech videos. Every time they do one, I'm like, yo, I wish they would make a game out of the tech demo that they're doing, because I remember the one that they did for 4, and I was just like, man, this looks really cool. I would like to be involved, immersed in that world. So I mean, again, it'll probably be the same thing where they don't make a game out of what we just saw. But if they did, I wouldn't be against it, because I thought that girl was pretty cool,
Mm.
and I like what she was doing, like her flying around and all that. I was like, as long as the controls are cool on that, it's not just a quick time event, because I could easily see as she was flying around. I want y'all to go back and look at the video when she was flying around. It looked like there was moments where it kind of stopped for a second, and I pictured on the screen like X, and then she flew around again. I pictured triangle, and so don't do that. But if they make it like really intuitive and flying, anyway, I'm putting down ideas for a game that's not going to happen. So let me stop.
Also, the audio was fire. The audio was absolutely amazing. Like just the directional audio and things. Like I was watching it on my iPad Pro, and it has stereo audio. It has 4 speaker grills. Like the audio on it is really, really nice. And I could tell like the location of like the audio, where it was like it seemed like some rocks were falling from one side, and the audio was like it was more prominent on that side, where it's like the spatial audio is really good as well. With the engine. So I'm intrigued, I'm fascinated. And then that engine with the PS5 controller, with the audio and everything, how walking through the water, I'm excited to get my hands on it and see how this stuff actually comes out.
And again, this footage that you saw today and the Series X footage that we saw last week, again, all this, you can put it all under one umbrella and know that both systems will be putting out games that look like that. And that's good news. That's good.
That's great. That is great news. What else we got, KJ?
So I saw something. They're doing a remake of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 and putting them together. I want to jog some memories out here. because I think people have been overlooking it, at least at what I've been seeing thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD?
No.
Because yeah, Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD was re-released, was a remake as well. They
Mm-hmm.
brought it back, updated the graphics. They had some of the stages from 1 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
just not all the stages from 1 and 2, but a highlight reel of 1 and 2, and a little bit of DLC from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. And but the problem with that was the gameplay was pretty good, but the problem with that was they didn't have all the boards that really made people happy. And the same thing with the soundtrack, they didn't necessarily have all of it. If you go back at the Metacritic, the scores overall, it's not that bad. I think it's getting like maybe a high 70s, close to 80s type of deal. So it wasn't that bad of a conversion. But what I saw now, it looks like they're really going all out. The fact that they're going to have all the areas from 1 and 2, and of course the overhaul. How about that hangar level now, man? Like, I don't know if you saw pictures of that or any video, but they just really pulling out all the stops.
All right, so KJ, so I did see the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2 remake trailer. Actually, like, I will happen to be on YouTube when it just so happened to be uploaded, so I caught it like right away before anybody was talking about it. And I'm assuming you didn't see my Twitter post, which is good because you don't know which angle I'm coming from with this. You know that I like skateboarding. As you know, I'm an avid bring back skate protester.
I'm not liking where this is going right now. Just letting you know.
Which I still am a hashtag we want skate, hashtag EAWTF, bring back skate. Who asked for this? Who asked for Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake? Did you ask for this, KJ? Did the video game skateboarding community ask for this?
Maybe.
I mean, the last time I checked, the only thing we've been asking for is Skate 4. That's the only thing. I mean, that's the only thing that's been on my mind. I mean, they've shown me Session, they've shown me Skater XL, and now they're showing me Tony Hawk, and I'm still like, fam, this isn't what I want. This
They've
isn't
given
what
you
we asked.
everything but what you wanted, man.
This isn't what I asked for, man. Now, people seem to like Skater XL. I've been watching some videos. The community online does seem to like it. It looks like it potentially could be a successor to
Yeah, humble yourself and download that.
Fam, nobody is trying to hit square to do a 360 flip and hit X to grind, bro. I'm sorry. It's a dated way to skateboard with the controller, bro. I'm not doing it. I do not want Tony Hawk 1, or like, if I want to play Tony Hawk 1, bro, I'm gonna bust out the N64 and I'm gonna play Tony Hawk Pro Skater on a Nintendo 64. I don't care how good you make it look. I don't care if you make Chad Muska look like Chad Muska looked like in 1998. I don't care, bro. I don't want to play the game. I don't want it. It's not what I asked for.
Well, for the people that are looking forward to it,
Fam, I don't care about your nostalgia. I don't care about your soundtrack that I could just go on Apple Music right now or Spotify right now. Go on Spotify and subscribe to the Play Legit podcast there, by the way. But I could go on Spotify and just pull up that playlist. Someone's preloaded the playlist for me. I don't need to buy another game to listen to that music.
All right, well, check this out. I like that it's being developed by Vicarious Visions, because Vicarious Visions ported it to the Game Boy Advance a long time ago. And the Game Boy Advance port of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 was dope. And another thing I'm going to throw in there too is they need to work something out with Disney, because the guest characters, I want to play as Spider-Man in this game. I highly doubt that's going to happen, but that would be cool to see him in these HD visuals. Even give him the suit that he wore in the most recent Spider-Man. That would be sweet.
KJ, I don't think you're hearing what I'm saying.
I heard what you said.
The controls for this game is garbage, bro. like I get it. They're like online multiplayer. You can play Tony Hawk online. Like, it was good until I tasted actual skateboarding with a controller. You can't give me actual skateboarding with a controller and then send me back to button mashing. Like, I'm sorry.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. I want people to leave comments. Are they with Team KJ or Team Koerri on this? Team KJ saying, I want to play this game again. And Team Koerri saying, Skate 4.
I've been living in silence. On my Facebook thread, bro, I've been living in silence because I wanted to save my take for right now. I've been seeing nothing but Tony Hawk Pro Skater butt kissing all over my timeline, all over Twitter, all over Facebook. I'm surprised people aren't taking screenshots of themselves hugging Tony. Like, I know it was Tony Hawk's birthday today. Tony Hawk is 52. Tony Hawk, you are the GOAT. Hats off to you. Like, when it comes to actual skateboarding, you have nothing but respect from me. If it was
That's what I'm saying. So you need to show some more love.
If it was 1999, I'd be like, fam, this is the greatest skateboarding game ever. I used to say that, and then I played Skate, and then I can't go back. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Nobody asked for this. I know you guys are all psyched. I know you're like, Kareem Campbell, like, brought back Kareem. Like, cool, bro. I know. Kareem
What if they
Campbell's
added,
like 45, bro.
What if they added a skate control option in there?
They're not going to. Want to know how I know they're not going to?
How?
Because it wouldn't be Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Why not?
Because Tony Hawk Pro Skater became popular because of like how zany and wacky and like crazy, like some of like the specials and stuff. Why do you think they put Spider-Man in the game?
For sure. All right, well, I'm good.
I mean,
Team KJ or Team Koerri?
Let
Y'all
us know.
leave comments.
Hit us up in the comments down below. Are you with me? Are you like, who asked for this? Are you with KJ? Are you happy that they brought it back? I mean, I know it's a classic. I remember being in the warehouse. You go down the joint, drop in. You freaking gap over the half pipe through the freaking glass. You break the glass. Most times you fail your trick because you try to Benihana over it or something. Like, I remember.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Show respect. You did for Final Fantasy 7. Do it for the Tony.
Look at fam. Fam. Final Fantasy 7, they changed the game mechanics, right? They made them better. They're not changing the game mechanics for this game. I'm making the assumption, seeing as the game comes out in September, there's not enough time for them to change the game mechanics. I'm assuming it's going to play exactly like the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Cool. It's fun. I'll download it if it's on PlayStation Plus. I'll download it for free for the month and hold it in my arsenal until they make PlayStation Plus not a thing. I'll do that. I'm not going to buy that game. Unless it's $10, I'll buy it.
Dang.
It looks amazing. I love the music. All of the music I already have in my library. If I want to listen to some Del, the Funky Homo Sapien, I got that already. Some Bad Brains, I got that already. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, Tony. You're the GOAT, but I don't want to play this game. Not in 2020. Not in 2020. So let us know what you guys think. This is getting too long. We wanted you guys to enjoy the interview. So let us know. Comment down below. Let us know what you think. And maybe we'll get back into this next week a little bit more if we get some more information. But KJ, are you set to preview an intro into this great conversation that we had with the great Tommy Tallarico?
I'm ready, man. I'm going to get some answers here on Earthworm Jim.
Oh, yeah, man. So last week we sat down with Tommy Tallarico. We had a conversation between me and KJ on the podcast about the Amico. I wasn't necessarily really bought in. somehow Tommy Tallarico found our video, watched it, reached out to us, wanted to come on the show, try to persuade me into purchasing or just giving the Amico a chance. So that's what we did. I heard him out. We heard him out, and this is it here. So enjoy our interview with Intellivision's Tommy Tallarico.
And refreshing to see guys, just giving their honest, unbiased, takes and looking at the good things and wondering about the questions. And that's why I'm here, man. I want to answer. I'm going to make, how do I pronounce your name?
Oh, it's Koerri.
It's just Koerri. Okay.
Yeah.
So my goal is to make Koerri a believer and a fanboy by the end of this fucking thing. So that's
nice.
We'll see if I can accomplish it, but I'm just letting you know that is my goal.
All right. Well, man, hey, let's go ahead. Let's just get right on into it then, Tommy.
Yeah, where are you guys calling from, by the way? Where are you guys located?
So I am based in Wisconsin. I'm in southeastern Wisconsin, right between Milwaukee and Chicago, in a town called Kenosha. And KJ is in Michigan right now.
Oh
yeah.
Shit.
You're outside of Ann Arbor, right?
Ann Arbor, yeah.
Yep, yeah. So we're just some Midwest guys. KJ is originally from Ohio, so just some Midwest guys that love video.
We got a lot
games.
going on.
Cool. I love it. I love it.
So
by the way, I love to see the brothers on the fucking YouTube as well talking about video games, because that's rare as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's not enough of that.
Do you guys ever follow the level? What are they called? Level 857. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Oh, dude, check out their channel. There's like 4 or 5 guys, super great. I've done the show 2 or 3 times. Level 857.
I wrote it down.
And they're the type of guys who would love to have you on, like they'll cross promote and everything. Those guys are super chill, big fans of those guys. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll definitely have to check them out, and we'll hit them up, see if we can do some work.
Tell them Tommy sent you.
For sure. All right, well, yeah, let's get on into this. I mean, I'm here to be convinced. KJ, he's looking forward to the Amico. I am intrigued by it. I'm not gonna lie. There is a lot of things, especially when you get down to the hardware. I'm a pretty tech savvy guy, so when it comes down to like hardware and stuff, that's the kind of stuff that intrigues me anyway. So I was always intrigued by that.
Yeah.
Where I kind of am standing though is kind of like, where does this fit in the whole grand scheme of gaming right now? Sure. Especially, how everything is so advanced online and things like that. Most people are playing games like that or doing competitive things in gaming. So for me, that's kind of where I was kind of hesitant. Like, man, like I definitely respect what you guys are doing. I definitely am excited to see a company like Intellivision come back. And not even be, look the competitors in the face and not be afraid. That that's the type of stuff I definitely love to see. I just want to see, I just kind of need to see a little bit more to, be fully pulled in. So
absolutely, and that's a great thing. It's absolutely fair for anyone, to have concerns, questions, want to find out more. That's why I try to do as many of these interviews as we can, because everybody has their own concerns and things. So to answer your main question there is, so you mentioned something interesting when you just, in your question, you said that, most people are doing, the online thing, or the PlayStation, Sony, Microsoft, Xbox, maybe your PC gaming, a lot of Nintendo Switches out there, right? And so that's the gaming, that's the hardcore gaming world. That's the, the typical gamers. Now, people who play PlayStation 4 and Xbox and Switch, and especially PC gamers, they're considered hardcore gamers in the whole step. Like your mom or grandma who plays Candy Crush, not considered a hardcore gamer, right? that's kind of like hyper casual gaming. They don't even consider themselves gamers at all, even though they might be addicted and they're playing in, you know, a half hour every single day. They're on their phone, right? But they're not considered. So the folks who are Microsoft, Sony, Switch, and PC, let's call them, for the sake of a better argument, let's call them hardcore console PC gamers. There's 200 million of those people in the world, right? That's a pretty significant amount of people, right? I mean, you know, 200 million. That's if you add up all the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation folks, Xbox folks, Switch folks, PC, hardcore PC gamers, you're going to get 200 million people. Okay. Do you know how many people play this every day in the world? 3 billion. 3 billion people. So that means, fellas, that out of all the people who play video games every day, only less than 7% of them are actually playing on home consoles or the PC. So in fact, when you look at, and so that's the sheer people numbers. But then if you look at the industry from a dollars and cents standpoint, you'll see that over the last 10 years, mobile gaming has completely dominated and taken over for both PC. It's almost tripled PC figures and more than doubled console figures. So the industry is $150 billion a year industry. That's bigger than movies. To give you an idea, music is like a $7 billion a year industry. So that's the whole music industry. So that's how big gaming is, right? 150 billion a year. And we've seen double-digit growth every year, at least 10% growth for the last 30 years. This is unheard of numbers. It's insane. It's amazing. So now we're at 150 billion a year. Out of that 150 billion, about 55% of all that money comes from mobile. 25% of it comes from the 3 home consoles. If you add Google Stadia, 4, can you really add them? Let's add them in. Let's add them in. Good try. They're trying. They're trying.
We're being nice today.
We're being nice. We'll say there's 4. And that's 25%. And then 20% is PC gaming, right? So again, you look at that and go, from a people perspective, there's a lot more casual, hyper casual gamers that, again, they don't even call themselves gamers. And then there's console, and then there's PC. And so when you think of Intellivision Amico, don't think of us as Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Stadia, or Switch. We are not competing. Look, I'm not delusional. I'm not over here drinking my own Kool-Aid. Woohoo! No. I don't have $1 billion in the bank. We don't have the infrastructure of 10,000 people like all those companies. I'm not trying to go up against those companies. I'm not trying to do what those companies are doing. But what I'm saying is, those 7%, let Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Google fight over those 7% of the market. Go to town, knock yourself out. I don't want to be in that fight. What I'm doing, though, is that there's 93% of the people in the world who are being completely ignored, and their only outlet is mobile gaming, right? And so what are the things that suck about mobile gaming? I'll tell you the 4 biggest things that suck. 1, there's zero curation on this. 0. So there's 1,000 new games that come out every week on iOS and Android. 1,000 a week. And 98% of them are total ass, right? Mm-hmm. So the curation is 0. That's one problem. 2, let's face it, this sucks as a controller, right? It's okay if you're going to pop a few balloons, or you're going to swipe 3, or you're doing a crossword or this and that. It's fine for that, right? But let's take the most basic and simple of arcade games. Pac-Man. Up, down, left, right. That's it. Up, down, left, right. Try to play that on your freaking mobile. It's a nightmare. Why? Because it's not accurate. And your screen, your fingers right in the middle of the screen where you're supposed to be playing. How the hell are you going to direct Pac-Man and see the ghosts that are coming when your freaking big fat ass finger is taking up 30% of the play field? This is insanity, right? So number 2, sucks as a controller. Number 3 problem is that, as we all know, and I don't know how many mobile games that you guys play, but maybe you have friends that do, this is nothing more than a money suck. They can say free to play all they want. We all know that's bullshit, right? All it's trying to do is suck as much money out of you as possible. Now, they're going to want your email address. They're going to want your credit card or your friends list on Facebook. And they're going to try to sell you $9.99 and $2.99 packages all day long, constantly. Now, if you don't give them your money or you don't give them your personal information, then you know what? You're going to get a 30-second ad every 3 minutes. And you're going to get pop-up windows on your phone, and you're going to get this and that. So, this free-to-play, or freemium, as they call it, is look, it's an industry, and I don't disparage the companies that make billions of dollars, millions of dollars off doing that. That's fine. But I'm shooting straight with you guys here now and saying that, as well as I do, let's not color code it. That sucks. But people deal with it because they have no other choice. You get the game for free. You get a little, your first hit of heroin is free. And then now we're going to drag this shit out, and we're going to suck you in as much as you want. Yeah. That's the third problem with this. But the fourth problem is the number one problem, and that's where Amico comes in. The problem with this is that it's solitary. It is solitary. Every single game on this. Now, are there a handful of exceptions like Jackbox? Yeah, yes. But 99.9% of all games that you play on this, it's you staring at a screen. The number one problem that parents have, young parents have with kids. I don't know if you guys have young kids or not, but one of the biggest problems that the concerns is that they give too much alone screen time to their kids, right? This has started to become the babysitter for a new generation. Kids who are like 12 years old and under, who grew up on this stuff, they're having social anxiety problems. There's all these issues. They can't look you in the eye when you're communicating, because a lot of times they become like introverted folks, because, this was their teacher, right? And so that's the number one concern. But think about every single hyper casual game that your mom or your grandparents or your girlfriends or wives who hate video games, but they play games on this. Every single hyper casual game out there, they got to play by themselves. They can't play Fortnite with you. They're not going to play Red Dead with you. And they're certainly not going to play your PlayStation 5 and your Xbox Series X. And I got news for you too. The games that us hardcore gamers consider casual, you talk about the Switch and you say, oh, you know what? Animal Crossing, that's a pretty casual game. Overcooked, that's a pretty casual game. Castle Crashers, that's a casual game. What's casual to us is not casual to my mom, right? My wife, who's younger than me, I'm 52, she's 35. Hey, all right, high five. No, so, but she grew up. She was part of the Pokemon generation, right? She's probably close to your guys' age, right?
Yeah, I'm 31.
She grew up on Pokemon. She grew up loving video games. She was a NES, Super Nintendo, but she's not a gamer by any means. She was when she was younger, and then she kind of just grew out of it because there was nothing really for her, right? And so she likes horses, as an example. That's what she does for a living. She has her own company. She's an equine massage therapist. And she's looking around. Now, are there horse games on there? And they're so bad. There's like the little kitty ones, like My Stable and Barbie's Horse Adventure, and you know, or they're like horse racing games, and she doesn't like that. Then she looks on mobile, and it's all a bunch of junk for the most part, right? And any game, it's by yourself, and so she can't really find a game that we can play together, right? I'm down there playing Red Dead 2 or Formula One racing. She's not playing that. She's not why. So I said, well, let's get a game like Overcooked. Like that's, again, to us, that's a casual game. I gotta tell you, my wife sits down and she's like, so wait a second. Let me get this right. And by the way, this isn't to rag on the game Overcooked. I personally love it. And I love the developers and I love everything about it. So I don't want to come across as like I'm trying to like tear down other games. I'm not. I'm just giving you a real life experience here. My wife sits down, we start playing Overcooked, and she's like, wait a second. So the object of this game is to cook and do the dishes? Yeah, how about no? You know, it's like, I'm trying to get away from that. Like, I don't want to, you know. And then the other thing that she hated, she's like, there's a countdown timer. Okay, on your mark, get set, go, panic. Everyone panic. She's like, look, I want to escape from game. When I play a game, I want to like chill out. I want to relax. Again, that's why those the popping games and the swipe 3 games, they're so popular with women, right? Because they're not wired like us. You know, boys like to destroy shit and girls like to chill out or build stuff, you know? And so it's just the mentality. And the video game industry as a whole, especially the home consoles, they're scratching their heads going like, well, how come more people aren't playing Overcooked, you know, when it's such a great casual game? Because it's not really casual like we think casual is something different. And so that brings me to Amico, right? And Amico is the Italian word for friend. And our goal, we have 4 tenets of our company. The 4 pillars of our company are simple, affordable, family, and entertainment. And those 4 words spell out SAFE: simple, affordable, family, entertainment. And our 2 biggest things, my 2, and I say this throughout the company all day and all night, all week long, the 2 biggest things for us with our customers is trust and value. So nothing that we do at Intellivision is for money. Nothing, right? Because our ethos is that if we can create trust and value with our base, then the success will follow. The money's going to follow, right? So when we say every game is $9.99 or less, I could have charged 15 or 20 bucks. I could have done that all day long, right? But and you look at some of the companies, like you say, like take Zelda Breath of the Wild, for example. You can buy the physical version for $59, or you could download the digital version for how much? $59.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, wait a second. Where did the savings get passed on to the consumer? You don't have to manufacture. You don't have to ship. You don't have the 100% markup by the retailer. The distributor gets their 10%, right? And the warehousing and the returns and all. Wait a second, where'd all that go? You know. So and I don't want to single out Nintendo because Sony and Microsoft do it as well too. But and so the idea is, well, hold on a second. You know, if we can create something that's just built on value and trust, if somebody can purchase our machine and they can get a game for $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, and they can get hours of enjoyment out of that. Again, I'm not trying to build Call of Duty. I'm not trying to build Red Dead. I'm not trying to build Fortnite. We're not even trying to build Roblox or Minecraft. What we're doing is we're bringing it back to the core. When I grew up, there was no thing as the internet. And you guys as well too, when you were growing up. If I asked you guys, what is your fondest memories of video games? I guarantee it was with when you were in a room with a whole bunch of other people, right? Maybe it was GoldenEye and the N64. Maybe it was Tekken. Maybe we're doing Halo LAN parties. Maybe it was Mario Kart on the N64 or Super Nintendo, or maybe it was Bomberman, whatever. I guarantee your fondest memories was when you were with other people. And let me take it back another step. Let me ask you, are your parents still alive, or one of your parents at least? For both
Mine,
of you?
yeah.
Yeah. Koerri?
No, but I have older relatives and stuff that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, or maybe brothers, sisters. When you think back in your childhood, both Chris and Koerri, when you think back growing up, were you were playing video games with your friends? Maybe you played with your mom and dad, right? Or your older siblings, right?
Oh yeah.
When was the last time, Chris, let me ask you, when was the last time you played a video game with your parents?
Oh Lord have mercy. That's 90 something, early 90s.
So safe to say 30 years ago.
You could say that, yeah.
And your parents are still alive.
Yeah, they're doing well.
Chris, you want to know what Amico is? What if I said to you that I could bring you and your parents back together to play video games again? That's what Amico is. That feeling that you just got, that just like overcame you. Maybe you got some goosebumps. Maybe your heart's warmed up. You just got brought back to your childhood. Now, I will say this as well, too, is that the Nintendo Wii did accomplish this, right? That was 14 years ago. Nintendo Wii is the third biggest home selling console of all time. Well, it's fourth now because PlayStation 4 just passed it last month. But at the time, it was the number 3 selling console ever of all time. It did 102 million units sold. My mom bought one. Nursing homes were buying. I bet you guys know a whole bunch of people that would never consider themselves gamers that bought a Wii. Am I correct?
There's a lot of retirement homes right now that they play.
Still have it.
Yeah.
They still have it. 14 years later, the internet's been shut off for it. Nobody does new games for it. Well, Ubisoft did Just Dance last year. It was funny. And you want to know the funny thing about that? As a goof, they kind of released it as the Wii, on the Wii, and the Wii version outsold every single console.
Oh, wow.
It was the number 1 seller for. What does that tell you? That is a hit and a half for your ass, right? That people want to come together. They want to come together and play simple games. Now, let me answer you this question. Let me ask you this question. All those people that you knew that bought a Wii, that never bought a game system before and blah, 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 and they're doing all that stuff. Think of 2 or 3 of people in your mind, right? My mom's one of them. That's the one that comes to my mind. Now ask yourself, did those people buy a Switch?
No.
No, they didn't. Because a Switch is targeted at a different audience, right? It's not targeted to hyper casual folks. You know, my mom doesn't want to, she's not going to carry around a Switch. She's not going to, split her Joy-Cons up so she can play Mario Kart or Mario Party. It's not, they bought it because they wanted to do this. Let's go bowling. That's all. That's it. Bowl that bitch, right? That's all. And so when you think about Intellivision, don't put us in the same category. I'll give you an example. Think of those guys, the big hardcores. Think of them as like they're making a race car. They're like Formula One cars, right? They're the most advanced technology, the fastest cars in the world, and they will get you from point A to point B, the quickest ever. Now, they're also one-seaters, right? Okay, so single-seater cars, fastest, best technology, get you to point A to point B. When you think of Intellivision, don't think that we're making like the Prius of automobiles. What we're doing, guys, is that we're inventing the bicycle. See, a bicycle can get you from point A to point B, but you can stop and smell the roses. You're outside, the sun's on your face. You can bring 5 or 6 people with you. You're talking, you're enjoying. It's a completely different experience. And that's what our console is based around. Every single game is couch co-op. Every one. Now, they all have a single player game as well, but everything is couch co-op, and everything is structured so that any kind of person in the world, no matter what your skill level is, you can pick up a controller, and I got one right here. You can pick up a controller and you can play and you can feel like you're part of the action. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that something that like is a positive thing for the world? Our whole motto is Intellivision, together again. That's what, well, with the COVID thing, it's a bad motto, but it'll come back around. Trust me, it's going to come back around for us. But that's our thing, together again. What a beautiful thing that we want to create something positive for the world, where people can get together no matter what your skill level. Think of us as like a board game night, right? Remember you used to have those board game nights? Maybe it was Monopoly or Scrabble or Pictionary or whatever the hell it is. That's more of our competition, right? Than something that's like a PlayStation or a Switch. So that's a big, long ass answer to your first question, but we're the underdog here. Root for the underdog. We're like Rocky Balboa up in this bitch. So you gotta want to be rooting for us, because we're coming out of the blue and doing something completely unique that no one's ever attempted before. So anyway, Koerri, shoot some questions at me, please.
Yeah, I mean, no, that definitely answered a lot. Especially, kind of comparing it to like we call them like the major consoles. Yeah. That does clear up a lot. The only question I would really have, and even this question that I kind of thought of while you were giving your explanation, you kind of answered it a little bit for me as well. Just because, like, the whole family aspect, bringing people together, the whole indie title type of environment. How do you feel about like companies like Apple trying to get involved kind of in the space as well?
Apple Arcade.
Yeah, with like Apple Arcade.
Yeah.
Like I could kind of see some similarities, but then when it comes to the hardware, I'd say you definitely have the advantage when it comes to the hardware, just because you're getting the 2 controllers, you have the system, you're not having to buy all of this other third-party things. Also, there's not the monthly subscription. But how do you feel about like a service like Apple Arcade? Do you feel like they're kind of impeding in the territory that you're in? I mean, 93% is a big space to kind of be competing in.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I'm glad you asked. So I'm always a half full glass kind of guy, So in regards to that, you say, well, shoot, Apple is one of the biggest companies in the world. So if their mindset and their market research and all their data and all their focus testing has been like, you know what, we got to make games simple, and we got to take out the ads, and we got to take out the freemium stuff, right? That's their ethos for around Apple Arcade, right? Look, just pay us $6 a month, and that's going to go up to 10 eventually. It's the Netflix model, right? We'll suck you in early. Disney Plus. You think Disney Plus is going to be $5 in 3 years from now?
Hell no.
So anyway, so I look at that and go, see, Apple's smart too, right? Apple knows what they're doing, right? Now, does it compete with Intellivision Amico is the more important question. And for that, I give you a few things. Remember what I said about this, right? So you're going to be playing games with this? I don't know. And then how many couch co-op games are there? true couch co-op games that grandma can play, right? Because you look at you look at all their games, and it's a lot of great stuff. Again, I never want to feel like I'm a fan of all this stuff, right? And so I never want to seem like I'm, crapping on somebody else's project or dream. I'm not, right? I think it's very smart for them to do that. I would have told them to do that 5 years ago, right? But you look at you look at a lot of the content, and a lot of it is more gamer oriented as opposed to super hyper casual stuff. And the last thing I'll say is, well, how many Apple systems are out there, right? So you just took away, because the majority of phones in the world are actually Android phones, right? So in the United States, Apple's a little higher, but you bring in the rest of the world, and it's I think it's 60, 70, or I forget what it is. I don't want to misquote, but I think it's like 70 to 30. It's like 70%.
It's at least 70% is Android. I'd say
70%, right? And so again, from a competitor standpoint, you say, well, crap. The majority of the people in the world don't even have a device to play. Like I'm an Android guy. I'm an Android and a PC guy. I've never had a Mac. And I've never had an iPhone ever my entire life, right? So I'm more of a tinkerer kind of guy. I respect Apple, but I don't, I prefer not, I'm not a consumer. So I couldn't play it, as an example. If I wanted to, I'd have to go out, get Apple TV or buy another device. Well, wait, now you're just buying another device again, right? So I think that's the biggest thing, is that it's only for their system. Now you say, but Tommy, you have the Google Game Pass thing, or whatever the hell their thing is. And again, look at the games and look at look at what that is. And then try to use this as a controller. And then how many couch co-op games are there? How many games are you going to be playing with your family around a centralized TV? And everybody has a controller, So it is different, but it's a great question, because they're starting to go in that realm. And that's what's great about our system, is we've created something that is a piece of hardware that we don't have any of those restrictions. Oh, you have to have an Apple. Oh, you can only use this as a device. You can only, and I don't know if you guys knew this or not. So the system comes with 2 controllers, right? It's the very first video game system, new video game system in 30 years that has come with 2 separate controllers. The last system was the Super Nintendo in 1990. Boom. How insane is this? That tells you all you need to know about where the video game industry has gone, right? Multiplayer gaming now means a kid in a dark room with his headphones on, right? Now, are there couch co-op games? Yes. I'm not saying there's not, right? But again, Overcooked, all these, Smash Brothers. Is that a game your mom, Chris, is your mom going to play Super Smash Brothers?
She doesn't even know what that is.
Exactly. And if you handed her a little half controller, and again, I say that and people say, well, the Switch has 2 controllers. No, the Switch came with 1 controller that you can cut in half and play some multiplayer games on. Not all, just some of the games you can split into, So that's pretty cool. But I don't know if you guys knew this or not. You can also download our free app. Are you ready? So you have this controller, right? And what's there? There you go. See, on this controller, on our hardware controller, I'm going to show you. It's got a gyroscope and an accelerometer. You can see the ball kind of jumping all over the place there. So it's a gyroscope and accelerometer. So we get the motion controls, the bowling, the cornhole, the shuffleboard. We can do all that with this. It has a speaker and a microphone. It has force feedback. It has a color touchscreen. There you go. And it's a capacitive touchscreen. So it's the exact quality of your phone, except your phone has glass, right? And so what happens when you drop your phone? The thing shatters. That's, but we didn't want to use cheap plastic. because that scratches, even plexiglass scratches. So this whole surface is an acrylic surface. So you still get the coolness and the quickness, but you get the durability as well. So a lot of time, energy, money was spent on this. Now, the other cool thing is all the buttons light up. I got them turned on low right now, but you see all the blue, all the buttons light up, and the disc lights up as well. And the disc, most D-pads are 8 position, up, down, left, right, and diagonals. We got 64 positions on ours. You can see the
Nice
going down, and look how smooth it is, right? Look how reactive and smooth. Now that green bar at the top, the harder I press. So we have pressure points as well on the disc. So the harder you press, so it's like a cross between analog and digital. And you can also press harder on the screen, and through software, it recognizes pressure points on the screen as well, which is kind of cool. Now, the other thing though, you said, but Tommy, so everything I just mentioned that this has as well. Your phone you're carrying around, right? It has speaker, microphone, color touchscreen, gyroscope, and an accelerometer, everything this has. And so you can download this for free and connect it up to 8 devices, all connected out of the box at once. And then you're going to say, but wait, Tommy, you just got through telling me that this sucks as a controller, right?
Yeah.
So you can see, our disc, our disc turns around and the buttons here, you can see the buttons glow, this and that. So what we've done is we package with this, we package attachments, disc and button attachments. So your controller now becomes a tactile controller just like this. And we just package that in the box for you. Now,
that's cool.
Of course, the better thing would be to get, for like the action games, action games, you're going to want to play with this. And that brings me to something else that a lot of people, are kind of unclear of. And I totally respect and understand it, is people look at this and they go, well, how the hell am I going to play Call of Duty on that? And the answer is you're not, because we're designing all of our games are designed around our unique controller. So don't look at this and think, well, how the heck am I going to do this? How am I going to play a fighting game? How am I going to look? We're reinventing game design and the structure and the way games are played. I'll give you a couple examples because it's hard to like, okay, Tommy, you're just talking out of your ass now. No, let me give you a couple examples. So I feel like I'm like the sham wow guy. And wait, there's more.
There's more.
It's just I get going. I get excited about this shit. So dial me back if you need to.
Can I get something in there real quick?
Hit it.
So what pulled me immediately to this was Earthworm Jim, right?
Yes.
Because
yes.
that's dope.
Yeah.
So I would like to know. So it sounds like that is going to have co-op of some sort.
Yes.
Right.
Single player or co-op.
How about that? And I would like to know if you can tell me like how that would control.
Right. So I can't really tell you specifics, but I will say this is that so the Earthworm Jim team, there was about 10 of us on that team, 10, maybe 12 people. The very first game we worked on was a game called Global Gladiators for the Sega Genesis. It won Game of the Year, it won Best Art of the Year, and it won Best Audio of the Year. That was the first game the team ever worked on together. The second game we worked on together was called Cool Spot for the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo.
7-Up game?
I played that.
7-Up game.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a
okay,
classic.
That game won Game of the Year, Best Audio of the Year, and Best Art of the Year. Wow, that's pretty good. We're 2 for 2.
Mm-hmm.
The third game we did, same team, was Disney's Aladdin. Guess what that did? Won Game of the Year, Audio of the Year, Best Graphics of the Year. After that, we did Earthworm Jim, the first one. What happened? Game of the Year, Audio of the Year, Graphics of the Year. And then the fifth game and final game that we all worked on together was Earthworm Jim 2, which, by the way, game of the year, audio of the year, graphics of the year. Think about that, guys. One team in the early 90s did 5 games and only 5 games together, year after year, 5 in a row. And every year we won game of the year, audio of the year, best graphics of the year. That is unheard of. So let me ask you this question. We haven't worked on a game together in 25 years. The original team is now back together, working on Earthworm Jim. We're calling it Earthworm Jim 4 because they did a third one that we didn't work on. It was a piece of shit. It was like 3D, it was, whatever. Control Alt Delete that. Okay. So let me ask you guys a question. For the guys who are batting 1,000, do you think we know how to make a fun game? Yes or no?
Yes.
Always.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course we do.
Yeah.
Right. And so the thing is that all of the stuff that we wanted to do in Earthworm Jim 1 and 2, we couldn't because of the technology back then. And so a lot of the game was side-scrolling platform. A lot of it wasn't, you know, the Andy Asteroids level when you're going on the rocket ship following Psychro. Remember the Peter Puppy where you're bouncing the puppies around or you're whipping Pete over the thing. Remember the snot, the snot bungee where you're trying to bounce the guy in the wall, right? It wasn't just a side-scrolling platform game. We wanted to do a ton of stuff. And to give you a little insight, a little inside baseball here on how we create those games, we never had a game design document, ever, for any of the Earthworm Jim games.
Oh,
It
wow.
was 10 guys in a room trying to make each other laugh. And so what we did is our secret was that we did the joke, we came up with jokes, and then we designed the gameplay around that. So for example, we'd all be sitting in a room together and I forget who said it, but somebody says, oh my God, how about we do this? At the very beginning of the game, let's like launch a chicken off the thing. And then every level you'll see this chicken. No, wait, that's hilarious. But what if we made it a cow? Because cows are even funnier than chickens. Yes, this would be great. Okay, so wait, we launch a cow. And then I'm like, oh my God. And yeah, you could launch the cow and we'll do a really funny like, moo. You like it as it gets launched. And then every single time in each level, you'll see this cow in the background. And from way off in the distance, you'll hear, moo. And every single level it'll do that. And then somebody added to that and said, oh my God, wait, I got a great idea. At the end of the game, when you finally save the princess, let's have the cow finally land and crush the princess. Okay, and then we go and we built the gameplay around the joke. That's why that game was so funny and so unique. We weren't trying to like, oh, let's make a side-scrolling platform game and then let's think of a funny thing to do here. Oh, what if we launched a cow in it? No, the joke is the most important thing. The joke came first. If you remember that one level, the underwater level, where the big, so all the games are like, you get to the end of the level and then you got to fight the big boss. And we're like, oh my God, this would be hilarious. What if Bob at the end of the level, it's just a goldfish in a bowl. And so you're standing back and everybody's going to be like, oh my God, this thing's going to turn into a big monster. This thing's like, what's going to happen? And the game just sits there. And this goldfish just swims in the bottom. And you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, this is the big boss fight. And you walk up to the thing and you just hit it and the thing falls over and the fish, and then that's the end. That was the boss. Right? That's funny. Right?
Yeah.
But we did the joke and then you create the gameplay around it. So in regards to Earthworm Jim, you might think to yourself, well, yeah, but it's, we want a 2D platform and this and that. Guys, we got so many jokes that we could never use because of the tech. Imagine those group of guys that have a speaker and a microphone on every controller. Everybody has their own touch screen. Everybody has their own motion controls. Everybody has their own force feedback. Imagine the funny shit that we're going to be able to do and mess with people and mess with you in the game. And yes, there's going to be side-scrolling platform levels. And by the way, don't worry about it. Because let me ask you a question. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to think back. And you think of some of the best side-scrolling platform games on the systems. And you're going to think of the NES, right? Super Mario Brothers, this and that, Castlevania, Metroid, Mega Man, right? You're going to think of the NES, or you might think of the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. Fair enough, right? Some of the best 2D side-scrolling platform games ever were on the NES, Super Nintendo, or Genesis. Is that a fair, would you say that's a fair comment, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want you to think in your head, what did those controllers look like? Take the NES controller as an example. Now, look at this, right? And instead of an 8-directional pad, like those 3 systems have, you have a 64 channel, or a 64 position. And you say, but wait a second, what about the buttons on the front? Well, we do have shoulder buttons, but even better, remember I said you can have, you know, so if I split this screen in half, let's say it's split right down here, down the center, and this is jump, and this is, you know, for Earthworm Jim, let's say it's, you know, the whole half of the screen, you got a big screen. And I got to be honest with you, like I play, so we have a lot of different ways you can play the games, because, you know, you can hold it this way if you're a lefty, if you want to hold it this way, whatever. And so, but remember how we had those buttons. So the buttons that go on the phone can also go on the controller. So you can configure this screen any way you want. If it's a 3-button game, if it's a 2-button game, if it's a 1-button game. Now, that being said, I got news for you. When I play, I actually prefer to, not the buttons. I prefer to just hit the screen. Why? Because it's a lot quicker, right? Think about it. And again, don't think of games on your mobile device and you have these stupid little buttons that you're trying to hit, because the whole screen is the gameplay. And so they put the little tiny buttons in the corners, and it sucks. Consider this, where the gameplay's on the screen and this whole thing is a button.
Yeah.
You know? And you're hitting it quick, right? Or it's split in 2 and one's jumping and one's. So again, you know, but that being said, there's so many funny things that we're doing with this that the game, that when people are like, oh, why don't you just put it out on the Switch and the PS4, whatever, because the game that we're building, and I mean this seriously, and basically 80% of the Intellivision games cannot be played on any other console because of the way we designed the game around this. So you asked about Earthworm Jim. I'll give you another example. You have this game called Safecracker. Now, Safecracker, you go around the city and you open safes, and all of the safes are different types of safes. So maybe you go into the first one and it's your standard old school dial, right? So you're using this, and you're using this as a dial, right? But you're listening too, because remember, there's a speaker on here, like click, 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 click. And then when and you hear a little vibration, and then all of a sudden, boom, it vibrates a little harder, and the click is a little different because you just hit the tumbler. Ooh. And now you start to go the other way. Click, click, really, really slow. Boom, oh, I got the next one. Click, 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 down the other way. Boom. And now you open the safe. That's one safe. Maybe it's a color combination. So maybe you have to find the clues, and it says red, red, blue, green, yellow. And that's how you open the safe. And then the buttons light up different colors, or the disc has different quadrants of lights. And you kind of have to play a little bit of a Simon game. Remember Simon? You know, and so maybe this lights up red. And so, oh, you have to hit red at the right time. Then this one lights up red again, but this one's blue, green, yellow. The buttons are different colors. And you're like, oh, wait, was it red, red, green? Okay, now I have to hit the red button. Oh, there's red. Boom. and then you have to hit the green, but you don't know where it's coming out on the controller. And maybe it's the screen that comes out. And so that's another way to open a safe. Or maybe it's your old school, or you're like your new school, where it's like a pad where you have to hit the, you hit the keypad, right? And we replicate the keypad here. And you have to find the clues to figure out what the combination is. Or maybe it's a color combination. Maybe it's a combination of all three of those things. Maybe you have to, tilt the thing because you're seeing on screen something that has to be tilted. So you see what I'm saying, where all of the games that we're making are made around the controller. You couldn't play that safe cracking game on a Switch or on a, because they don't have the colored touchscreen. They don't have the speaker, microphone, gyroscope, accelerometer, all that stuff in one. So, yeah.
With so I can see a lot of thought definitely is put into the controller. So y'all are putting your thoughts together and brainstorming over there.
Uh-huh.
So I could imagine that you probably have franchises in your head that you would like to see on the Amico. Is there anything like that Tommy says, hey, I bet this franchise would be cool. I bet Booger Man would be awesome on here, or something like that.
I gotta be frank with you guys. Like, everything that we want to do, we've just been going out and getting. It's like we have, and there's so much stuff we haven't even told people yet. And I'm talking major licenses, like mic drop moments. And so I encourage everyone out there, if you want to keep up on it all, just go to IntellivisionAmico.com. That's our website. And just sign up to our mailing list. And you'll get all the information. The other thing I'd tell you is please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, because we put out a whole bunch of YouTube channel. And if you want information like daily, then check out the Intellivision Twitter or Facebook page, or my Twitter page is Tommy Tallarico. So if you want to see me like pwn haters, you can sign up to that. And I don't, dude, I'll mix it up. I don't give a shit. If the hardcore haters, elitists, I hate you, I hate this machine, you suck, it's blah 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 blah. If that's your thing and you're gonna come at me with that, well, you might get a response. That's all I'm saying. I shouldn't say that, because now I've just opened myself up to thousands of people wanting to just get my attention. But every once in a while, I might bark back.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Keep it fun.
All right. Keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah.
So I just had a quick question about the Karma gaming engine.
Yes.
I know you probably can't get too in depth about it, but
I'll go in depth with it.
Okay, what was the process of bringing that on board?
Yes.
I know it kind of evens the playing field for everyone, but what was the whole idea about bringing that in, and how did you kind of develop the system for that to work?
Right. So the first thing to know about it is the Karma gaming engine is like Sega's blast processing. So it's just a marketing term. It's not a real like engine that is installed. It's not on our hardware. It's not in our operating system. What it is, it's a way of thinking. That's what it is. And a way to approach game design. And I'll get into it a little depth with you a little here on it. So one of the big things that I felt was wrong with the industry is that games aren't accessible to everyone in the same room together, because everybody has different skill levels, right? And even hardcore gamers, like Koerri, let's say you're like a super uber Madden football fan, right? Mm-hmm. And Chris likes Madden football as well too. But you've got the new Madden football game and Chris doesn't have it yet. And you've been playing it for 3 months. Now, true or false, the first time Chris comes over your house and is playing it for the first time, and you've been playing that for 3 months, even though Chris is a hardcore gamer and Chris has played all the other Madden games, he has 0% chance of beating you, right? Because you know all the shit. You know all the good stuff. You know all the plays. You know what works and what doesn't, right? And so even hardcore gamers can't even play level playing field together sometimes, right? Now think about grandpa. Or think about the 5-year-old girl who wants to play with her parents, right? And so there's so many different levels of gaming. What's the word I'm looking for? Different
skill sets.
Thank you. Different skill levels of gamers. It's so wide, going from Angry Birds and Candy Crush all the way to like full on Fortnite or Call of Duty, where you're using dual analog sticks plus the D-pad plus the 4 buttons on the top. Now, what would Sony announce? What's their big thing? Hey, we're putting 4 more on the back of the controller. Like, oh my God, really? It's like, when are the foot pedals coming too? So, and we'd all buy it, wouldn't we? But so the Karma gaming engine, I wanted to like fix that. I wanted to say, I want to bring people in, but I don't want to just do like cheap, like they call it rubber band AI. So a perfect example of that is like
Mario Kart.
Yeah. So if you're in last place, they're gonna zoom you right up front, and that's kind of like, okay, it's kind of like lame and cheating. It doesn't feel
natural,
great, and so, and by the way, I also need to tell you as well that if you want to turn this off, you can. Each game, most every game has a Karma on-off switch.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys didn't say, look, I don't want any help at all, let's go at it, you can do that as well too. But mostly it defaults to on. But it's not this rubber banding. Let me give you a couple examples, real world examples of how we use it in the games. Let's take Pong, for example, right? So everybody knows Pong. Now we're actually redoing Pong. And we have all these battle modes and co-op modes and versus modes and single player modes and all these fun sports modes and all these different cool things. And it's simple and it's easy and anyone can get into it. Now, let's say I have an Amico. I've had it for 6 months. Chris, you come over my house and you don't have an Amico and you've never even played Pong. Again, in a normal gamer situation, you would have 0% chance of beating me, right? Because I know the game and I'm an ace at the game. Okay. On Amico, it's different. Because what happens when the Karma gaming engine is on, what happens is if I score 3 times in a row on you, my paddle's going to shrink and yours starts to grow. And so what it is this real-time, on-the-fly handicapping system. Because if I'm really, really super good and my paddle's only this big and yours is taking up half the screen, I'm okay with that as the best player on the thing because it's still very challenging to me, right? I'll give you, now if you start to catch up and you start to like majorly score and now I'm getting my ass kicked, well, then it starts to level you out a little bit and maybe I grow a little bit. So it finds out the style of gamers we are, and then we play together so it's challenging. I'll give you a couple other examples. So we have this game called Shark. Very simple game. You're a small fish and you have to avoid the bigger fish and you eat the fish that are smaller than you. And every time you eat a smaller fish, you start to grow. So you can start to eat more fish. And then if the 4 of us or 3 of us are playing this game together, if I'm bigger than Koerri, I can actually eat Koerri too. So, so it becomes like, ooh, who can get bigger quicker? Now, let's say that Chris is in last place. He's got the least amount of points and his fish is the smallest. Well, in our game in Shark, on every level, there's 3 different bonus things. Like sometimes they're 3 different color clams, oysters. Sometimes it's a treasure chest. Let's say it's the 3 clams. There's a blue, a red, and a yellow. Okay. And what happens is every 30 seconds or so, it's random, a clam oyster will open up and there's a special pearl in there. And the pearl, when it opens, everybody goes for the pearl because you automatically get points and it boosts you up and it gives you a free life and it boosts you to the next size. Well, so what we do is we say, you know what, that guy in last place, we shake his controller, him or her, we'll say it's Chris, shake his controller. He looks down on his controller and it shows him the color of the oyster that's about to open. So he's playing the game and he's like, oh, doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. And he starts like, you see Chris start going, we're not even paying attention to Chris because he's in last place, you know. And all of a sudden he's like, oh shit. And he's hanging around the blue oyster. Oyster opens, boom, he's on there. He's got a slight advantage because, and maybe he died on the way there and whatever, and it equal again. But the idea is, can we give the person in last place a little hint or a little clue or a little, I'll give you another example of the Karma gaming engine. Let's take the game Tetris. Okay. So all of our games are completely unique, completely, exclusive to our system. So in Tetris, in our version of Tetris, and by the way, I'm not announcing that we have Tetris. I'm just saying, what if we had Tetris? let's say for experiment's sake here, that we had a Tetris game. And let's say the three of us were playing Tetris. Let's say that Chris was the be-all, end-all Tetris player on the planet. And Koerri was really great as well, but not as good as Chris. And I kind of sucked at it. Okay, so the three of us are playing. Chris is kicking our ass. Bam! And again, so we have three different Tetris things. Mine's, yours there, blah, blah, blah. And three things. And now we're scoring. Now we're playing. Chris is kicking ass. He's like clearing all the shit and everything. What me and Koerri could do is say, hey, dude, screw this Chris guy. What you could do is when we complete rows, we can throw those on Chris's, we can throw those down on Chris's puzzle, right?
Dang.
And so Chris is in the lead. And I can start throwing shit, and then Koerri's like, and then I'm forming an alliance with Koerri. Say, hey, Koerri, let's screw him up. And so we're throwing shit on his stuff, and now all of a sudden his stuff's filling up. It's harder for him. He's got gaps and stuff. And now Koerri's in first place. And I say, hey, Chris, let's get on him. And now he's in first place, and now he can't throw block. And so then you see how it kind of like, this is a fun thing. And it doesn't feel like the system's cheating for somebody. It's what we're talking about is rethinking how games are designed, and how can we make it fair for somebody. And so it's been a really fun kind of design experience for our developers and stuff to come up with cool, unique ways that you never would ever think of. And look at that thing that I said there about Tetris. It's an idea I came up with, and then it's like, well, wow, so yeah, you got single player, but holy crap, is this fun? Now we've just incorporated a whole new way to play Tetris, that no one's ever done before because of our Karma gaming engine, this thing that we call, this umbrella that we put on everything saying Karma gaming,
Awesome.
And I could give you 20 more examples, and they'll all be completely different from each other. But that's three really good ones. What do you think, Koerri? You starting to come around?
I mean, I am.
All right, good.
I mean,
but keep it coming.
You have an answer for every question that I've had. The only real thing that I thought could really interfere with it would maybe be maybe something like the Apple Arcade, but then you came back, you have the facts and everything, and then just how the console's set up and how it's designed. And definitely, I have younger kids. I have a 6-year-old. I have a son who's about going to be 2 soon, so he'll be he's right at that age where he's messing around with devices and stuff like that. So it definitely is something that I definitely could play with them and stuff like that too, because I play the Switch with my daughter sometimes. I've tried to play Smash Bros with her, and that does not work.
Yeah, well, you know what's great, Koerri, that you're gonna love too, is that we have 5 different categories that we focus on of gaming. and I'll go through the 5 with you quickly, but one of those 5, so call it like 20% of our library, is edutainment and kids.
Nice.
But here's because think about it. How many educational games are on the Xbox for a 5-year-old? Go ahead, I'll wait. Google it. You're not going to find any, right?
Right.
PlayStation and even the Switch, where it's like a really serious edutainment with like a big edutainment company. How many will you find on there, right? That are really quality. I'm talking high quality, real stuff made by teachers and psychologists and things like that, right?
Nothing. I've
right?
found nothing. The only thing close that has like anything game related would be like ABC Mouse, which is an application, but that's like an education based application. So.
Right. And ABC Mouse, which is a great product. It's on their mobile device, right? So most edutainment stuff is all on mobile. But again, what do? You're going to give your phone or your iPad to your daughter, and now she's going to sit in the corner and zombie out.
Right.
And you and your wife are going to be thinking to yourself, man, we got to limit that time. Like, we want her to and again, I'm the only CEO of a video game company that you'll ever hear say the following words: I don't think people should be playing video games all the time.
Snap.
I bet the 3 of us, when we were growing up, I bet we used our imagination. We went outside and played. We picked up a stick, and that was our lightsaber, right? Yeah. And we had battles together. And maybe we played Army Men, or maybe we went out, we did all this creative stuff outside. Maybe when we were reading books and we could imagine these places in our mind, and that it sparked the creativity inside us and our artistic abilities, that we used our imagination. How many kids are using their imagination these days? Why would they have to? Everything's hand-fed to them visually all the time, right?
Right.
Look, balance is important in our lives. And we're in this 21st century right now where technology is driving families apart, right? You walk into a family and maybe the wife's on Candy Crush and the dad's looking on the news, on his thing, and the kids and the teenage daughter's on TikTok or Instagram on her phone, and the 12-year-old kid's playing Fortnite on his laptop or watching YouTube. So you have a family of 4 in a room together that are all off in their own worlds. They're not communicating. They're not, this and that, right? That's the shame. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to say, look, I want to use technology to bring family and friends back together. That's our mission. That's our goal. And I got news for you. When I sit in a dark room and I'm playing Red Dead 2 for 3-4 hours on a weekend, and my wife's downstairs and my dog wants to go for a walk, and you start to feel guilty, don't you? Koerri, the more, kids it's not like when you were 20 and you were like, yeah, fucking 18 hours, Call of Duty, let's go. It's not like that anymore. You got kids, you got responsibilities, you got a job. You find time for the alone time with the wife and communicate with her. You got to call your brother back. Life happens, right? So when you do sit down to play that 18 hours game, you start to feel guilty, don't you? Oh man, I should be spending time with my daughter. my wife wants to do this. You're feeling guilt. Let's be honest. We can be honest with each other, right? I feel it. You feel it. Maybe Chris feels it. You feel guilty. Now, we're not selling guilt. What I'm selling to you, Koerri, is I say, you have guilt with those other systems, but with our system, your wife's going to be playing with you. Your 7-year-old, the 3 of you are going to be playing. And the 2-year-old might be watching and laughing and giggling, and maybe you can give her a controller and she's hitting one button on the screen that's doing something, right?
Right.
That's what we're selling. We're not selling guilt. And then the other thing, though, I wanted to talk about edutainment, and then I'll get into the 5 categories. The other edutainment stuff, you mentioned ABC Mouse, that is a single player game, right? Again, same. What's the biggest problem with this? It's solitary. What's the biggest problem with every, I don't want to say every, that's not fair. Most multiplayer games is that they're online multiplayer, right? And you're by yourself. Okay. So what if I told you, Koerri, that the edutainment games that we're making with the #1 edutainment brand in the world, and I would say the name of it, but I can't because we're doing a press release in 2 weeks. So, but trust me, it's the #1 brand. They've been on for 50 years. You know every single one of their characters. We all grew up on it. Your kids are growing up on it. So anyway, we got an exclusive deal with them that we're going to be announcing. What if I said to you that all of those games that we're doing exclusively with them could incorporate you or your wife or your 7-year-old and your 2-year-old when they turn 3, where they can. So what about cooperative edutainment? When has that ever been done? Why does it always have to be just for the 4-year-old and here, go sit in a corner and be a zombie?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you sit down and help and use the motion controls? Oh, yeah, we all have to chop an onion now. We're making a recipe. Chop the onion. Come on, everyone, chop the onion. Chop, chop. Here, let me show you how to do it. And you put a controller in your 2-year-old's hand, and she's laughing because he's going like this, and daddy's going like this, and then okay, and you see where I'm going with this?
You got me, man.
Right? You see where I'm going with
got
this?
You got me. You
I
got
got
me.
you
You're
on
right.
the edutainment.
You're right. You are right. It's one of those things where it's like,
Where's that?
especially with the kids, like you want them, and it's like you could, even with ABC Mouse, sometimes like my daughter likes doing it, but sometimes it's like if I could just do it with her, like some of the mini games or whatever it may be, she would be more intrigued by it. So that definitely is something I would love to be able to just have the whole family together. We're playing an educational game, being able to explain
with
stuff
characters, with
Right.
AAA characters that and you adore and your wife adores and everybody. Yeah. So I'll quickly go over the 5 categories. Edutainment, kids, 1. 2, retro reimagined, right? So I went out and I got
all right now.
What's that? Say
I
again?
said, all right. You done got me hyped. I'm just like, all right now.
Oh yeah, you're all right. You're with the retro reimagined. That's what that's your wheelhouse right there, right? So I went out and I got them all from and again, we haven't mentioned a lot, so I can't say a lot, but I'll mention the ones we have. I went out, I got all the Atari. Now remember, all these games are exclusive for our console. So all the Atari stuff like Centipede and Missile Command and Breakout and Asteroids and Pong and Tempest and Yar's Revenge and Adventure and Warlords, we're redoing all that stuff. And I call it retro reimagined because we're redoing all the graphics, we're redoing all the audio, and we're not redoing all the gameplay and stuff. Screw that. That's where all these companies always screw up. They try to change it all and add all. Oh, now it's in 3D Frogger. No, screw that, right? We're keeping it real, but adding a whole bunch of different levels and adding in couch co-op. So for example, let's take the game Frogger as an example. I'm not saying we've announced Frogger yet. We haven't, but let's say, what if we had a game of Frogger and the 3 of us were playing? No, Koerri, let's bring your wife in on it as well. There's 4 of us playing Frogger. Okay. Now remember, all of our controllers light up. So mine is green, Koerri's is red, Chris is orange, and your wife is pink. So our controllers are all the different colors. So I can look at Koerri and say, oh, he's got the red controller. So Koerri is the red frog on the screen. So I always know who's who, right? Because I can just look over at your controller, right? Your wife's pink. I know she's pink. She's the pink frog. Okay. Now you say, well, but Frogger's a single player game. No, not on Intellivision. What if we had 4 frogs? Everybody knows our color. On your mark, get set, go. And we're all trying to get across the street. Oh, did I mention 4 players, 4 frogs, 3 openings up the top? so you're trying to bump each other into traffic. You're trying to bump each other off the log. You're trying to get there the quickest. Oh, damn, I fell. You got to go back, and we're trying to go again, and this and that, right? So here it is again, where I've taken the most simplest, and I guarantee, Koerri, your wife's not going to mind playing Frogger. Try to get her to play Fortnite. Good luck with that, right? But something where she can just take a frog and hop it across the thing and watch out for the cars and don't get in the water. And your son can, or your daughter could play that, and you're laughing and you're having fun because she just dunked on dad, and he got left out. And so we got the retro reimagined. Okay, so edutainment, retro reimagined. The third one is original IPs, original intellectual properties. Those are the games that I'm talking about, like Safecracker, where the game is designed complete. We have so many fun party games, guys, that utilize the speaker and the microphone and the motion controls and all those original kind of IP games. Another game we're doing is a Bomb Squad, where imagine where a bunch of you, or, as a family, you're trying to defuse a bomb, right? And it's not going to be like a vicious terrorist type of thing, it's more like, confetti explodes or whatever, but imagine like you're in the bomb and you and your wife, and it's like, okay, 2 of us have to hit the blue button and 1 of us has to hit the red to cut the wires, right? And so you say to your wife, you say, okay, and again, you don't know where the colors are going to appear on here. Maybe this down is blue. Maybe this button is blue. You don't know. It's going to be random every time. And you say, okay, now at the same time, 2 of us have to hit blue and 1 of us has to hit red. And we got to count down and do it. Okay, on your mark. Wait, hold on a second. Am I hitting red? No, I'm hitting blue. You're hitting red. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, go. And then the lights come up, counters coming down, and you say, but you have to hit them at the same time. So you have to communicate. Say, oh, don't hit it yet. 1, 2, 3, hit your colors, go. Oh shit, you hit blue. I saw you hit red. So these are the kind of fun experiences that no one's ever done before. We're thinking outside the box on everything we do. So original IPs, that's a 3rd category. 4th category is casual, meaning board games, card games, dice games, right? So imagine a game like Farkle or Liar's Dice or Yahtzee, where everybody has a controller and your dice are on the controller. And so you're shaking it. It's not even your turn, but you can just shake your controller and the dice are throwing around and you can hear them out of the speaker. They're like, oh, shaking your dice, grandma shaking, everybody's shaking their dice, having a good, but then when it's your turn, boom, your thing buzz, Koerri's turn, you're the red player, your thing lights up red. Remember, we got lights all around here as well, all around the console in the front. So the console lights up red, Koerri's turn, go, and you have your dice and you shake them and then you throw them up on screen. And the dice, boom, the dice appear up on screen, your colored dice, because you get to pick what color dots do you want? What kind of dice do you want? Do you want numbers? Do you want the pips? Do you want the, all the different things, right? So you create your own dice and you roll them up on screen. That one little thing gets grandma going like, again, you think they like Wii bowling? That was one little, that was a tech demo. Wii Sports was nothing more than a tech demo, right? It was 4 games.
Yeah.
You had tennis, your boxing, which was crap, baseball, which kind of sucked, but everybody loved the Wii bowling, right? 4 tech demos, and those were the only games that most, like 30% of the Wii owners, 30 million people out there, that's all they wanted. My mom never bought another game for it. She just She wanted to do this, bowling. It was fun, right? Friends would come over, my aunts and uncles, they could all play together. It was fun. They didn't even keep score. They didn't even care, you know? And so we're that little kind of microcosm moment, we're basing our entire console around that, right? And then the final game, oh, by the way, imagine card games as well. You guys ever play Texas Hold'em?
Yeah.
For example?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the best part of Texas Hold'em? When you're with a group of people and you're bluffing your buddies, right? Or you throw down that straight flush and you punch your buddy in the arm. Ah, screw you. Blah, blah. You're looking at everybody who's bluffing, who's not, right? That's the fun of Texas Hold'em. Now think of every single video game that's ever played Texas Hold'em. And Texas Hold'em's the second most popular card game in the world, number one being solitaire. Wait till you see our couch co-op solitaire. Kind of like ironic, right? Couch co-op solitaire. Wait, that's impossible. But no, we figured out a way. So imagine though, Texas Hold'em. You've never been able to play that the real way. You can only play it online. Now, everybody's got their two cards in their hand. And the flop, the flop's on the screen, and then you hit the river, and then this is amazing. You're finally going to be able to play real Texas Hold'em. And again, we add all these fun, multiple ways to play. So, you know, speed and different things and different challenges. So it's not like, well, why would I even want to play that when I can just take out a deck of cards? We add in a lot of different fun ways to play and different things. So that's the fourth category, the casual board games, card games, you know, dice games, crossword puzzles, stuff like that. And then the fifth and final category is sports and recreation. Hello. So, you know, baseball, football, soccer, hockey, basketball. Yeah, we got all that. But sports and recreational sports, bowling, skiing, cornhole, bocce, tennis, darts, pool, shuffleboard for grandpa, whatever the hell, horseshoes. We got all that stuff too, right? And so those are the 5 categories. You won't see first-person shooters in there. You won't see, you know, that kind of stuff, because all the other, I'm not going to compete with those guys, right? And by the way, we keep our graphics simple. We don't want open 3D worlds, because then you got the dual analog sticks and the strafing and the this and that and all the motion capturing. Is it 60 frames a second? Is it at 4K? Is it that? Screw all that shit. You'll never hear me talking about teraflops and real-time tessellation on the thing as the sunlight's beaming in and the wind is flopping these shit around. You won't hear me talking about that stuff, because that's all visual and graphic. Maybe you guys watched the Xbox Series X or whatever the hell, the Xbox thing this morning, right?
Yeah.
And you saw like 10 amazing trailers. And Koerri, ask yourself if your wife is going to play any of those games.
Nah, yeah, I don't. Not one.
No, they ain't. Nope.
You know what I mean?
One.
And so what I guess my point is that I'm saying is graphics. Look, I'm a graphics whore as well. Like I looked at that stuff today and went, holy shit, this is next gen. This is mind blowing. And then afterwards, I'm like, yeah, I kind of wouldn't really play any of those. Like I don't really, they're fun to like look at, but you know, that land or that sea thing looked like really beautiful, like next level cartoon animation stuff, right? And I'm like, gosh, am I gonna have to like play for hours and learn all the controls, and then I'm gonna pick it up 4 days later and I'm gonna forget all the controls, and again, I don't want to crap on anything until I've played it, so it's not fair. I'm just saying, like, the psychology that went on in my head, because I'm so used to getting beat down with like complex controls, takes too long. I don't give a shit about your 20-minute cinematic. Go screw, you know, like click past that, you know. And so what our most important thing is, it's not graphics. again, we have all the market research and focus testing and data to back this up. People don't care as much about graphics as hardcore gamers do. Think about this. Chris, if your mom had a choice, you put her down in front of a PlayStation 4, and maybe your mom loves bowling, and she had a photorealistic bowling game. Oh my God, it was amazing. When the ball hit the thing, you could see the reflection off the bomb, the boom. You had 5.1 audio, so you could hear people talking at the bar behind you in the different lanes, and you had this controller that you here you go, mom, here's the controller, and you have to circle this to do the thing, and then you have to hit the R1 button to go, and then you have to hit down the R3, push that one to let go. Here you go, mom. Or if she had a cartoony looking bowling game like the Wii Sports, and you say, here, mom, just here's the controller. All you do, put the strap on like this. Yeah, right here, right? And here's your trigger button. Now just roll it, and then let go when you want to let go. Which one do you think she'd play all day long?
The simple one.
She'd play the simple one.
All day.
She doesn't care about the we do. The 200 million gamers out there, we care about graphics and this and that in our minds. But the second, Koerri, you see your wife and your daughter sitting down and they want to play a game with you on Amico, you're not going to care about graphics either. Because what's the most important thing about a game? It's the fun.
Yeah.
The design. You've heard me talk this last hour and a half all about, I always talk about the design and the fun factor of the games, right? Did you guys watch the PlayStation 5 thing with Mark Cerny last month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Right? That was fun, wasn't it? I personally, Mark's a good friend of mine. So again, I don't want to, I'm not, but it is kind of funny, right? That like, the whole thing was very technical.
Yeah.
Never talked about the fun of the games. But the funniest thing to me was the fake silhouette people, and like, really, Sony? Like, you're like the best graphics thing in the world. You got a dude up here talking about teraflops and all this like amazing technology, and you screwed up your green screen. What? Who thought that was a good idea? Anyway, and I say that tongue in cheek because I like to, give my good friends, a little ribbon. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's the difference. Don't lop us in with those guys. You don't hear me talking about our speed of our chip or the graphics capability of this or our 11.1 Dolby Atmos audio. And I'm an audio guy. You don't hear me talking about that. We're talking about fun. We're talking about design and gameplay and playability. Because you know what, guys? That is the most important thing. And it seems like the industry has forgotten that,
I want to ask you something real quick, too. So how many games are you expecting to have at launch? Because we got to have games. I mean, your console can do all the sensor motion and all the fun stuff, but if you don't have the games.
That's right. That's right. So here's the question. Here's the answer to your great question. So the system will have 6 games, premium games, right on the system itself. And I might add a 7th game as well. Okay. And they're all premium, top quality, top shelf games. Okay. So you get 6, maybe 7 out of the box. Easy. And they all kind of hit on all those categories I said, right? And more family and the co-op stuff. And we got some arcade shooters in there. Okay. So you got 6. Currently, right now, Chris, we have 50 games in development, including the 6 games that I mentioned, right? So we have 50 games in development. And at the end of June, we launch 50 more. Okay. And remember, we go out and we hand pick the developers from around the world. We are not an open platform. We're not like Steam and not like all these things where you're going to get 1,000 new games a week, this and that. We hand pick the developers. We curate every single game, and we partner with all of these indie developers and say, look, we're going to give you all the resources you need. And guess what? We're going to pay you to do games for us. To an indie developer, that's like, what? I don't have to do a Kickstarter? I don't have to like live in my mom's basement and eat ramen for the next year? No, we're paying you to build your dream, and we're going to give you all of the development resources, including marketing and PR. But remember how I said Earthworm Jim and all those games back in the day won Best Art of the Year? Well, our art director for Intellivision, his name is Mike Dietz. He was the art director and animation director of all those games. I brought in I AAA sniped every of my top friends in the industry. Just in our executive team alone, we have over 600 years of video game experience. Our VP of production, his name is Jason Enos, look him up. He was the producer of the following games. You may have heard of some of these. All the Metal Gear Solid games. Silent Hill. He's the guy who brought Dance Dance Revolution to the world. Contra, Castlevania. He was at Konami for 12 years. Then he did EA for a couple years, and then he did Namco for the last 8 years. So all the Namco games, Ace Combat, Tekken, boom, boom, boom. He produced and product managed all those games. This guy's a legend. Now he works for Intellivision, right? And so we got the former president of Nintendo of America, who was the head of the internal development team, president of Nintendo. He works with us. You kidding me? So we got so many different people. We're about to announce, guys, probably in about 2 to 3 weeks, maybe sooner, about two to 3 weeks. We're going to make a major announcement about somebody we just hired, who's going to be the general manager. So he reports directly to me. And this guy is one of the biggest names and contributors to the video game industry over the last 25 years. And he retired. He made so much money. He retired 10 years ago from gaming. And he called me and said, and he's a friend of mine. He called me, he goes, Tommy, the stuff you're doing, man, I'm telling you, I haven't been excited in 10 years. I just wanted to call to congratulate. I said, congratulate me? Screw that. Why don't you come work with me? You know what? Bam. Within a day, he's on board, and it's going to blow your mind who it is. Like, you know, it's crazy who this guy is. It's so this is the kind of level of talent that, you know, that we're attracting and stuff. So anyway, what the hell was your question? I forgot now because I've been rambling.
I think you answered it already. Yeah.
Oh, how many games? So that was it. So we have 50 games in development right now, 50 more starting next month. And so the idea is that we're going to launch with about 30 games, right? So you'll have 6 in the console, 6 or 7, and then 30 more to choose from. And then we're going to come out with one new game about every 2 weeks or so, 10 to 14 days. And why this is great for the developer, especially the indie developer, is that they become the spotlight. See, we partner with them. So when millions of people are going to turn on their Amico, and the first thing that pops up is, hey, here's the new latest, greatest game. And I'm not going to sell that spot. EA can't buy that. Activision can't buy it. Ubisoft can't buy it. Every game gets that same attention from us. And by the way, we don't even need Activision or EA and Ubisoft. You know, our stuff is all about stuff that we're doing with awesome, you know, indie developers. So we have 100 developers. We have about 80 developers signed up. 80 developers signed up right now. and again, hand-picked. So I would rather have 80 super talented, awesome, epic developers than 10,000 cranking out fart apps. You know what I mean? How many?
You might have heard me talking about that because, you know, on the Nintendo Switch, I don't mean to bring you into that territory.
No, hit it. A lot of crap on there.
They have so many garbage indie games on there.
Dude,
and
you can buy a game on the Switch for 1 penny. No lie. Go into the deals section tonight on the eShop. Go into the deals section and start scrolling. You'll see games for 14 cents, and you'll look at them, and they're like, it's like some flashy flash game or some like really bad, like using 8 colors or like like, what is this garbage? Remember back in the day, guys, when you were growing up? Remember the Nintendo seal quality, seal of approval quality that came on all that shit, right? And you knew that, like, when that game had that thing on it, you knew. I've been in the game industry over 30 years. When I first got in the industry, I was working on NES games and Game Boy games. This is before Genesis and Super Nintendo, right? And so I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, where even by then they had thrown that out the window. You know, wow. I know, because I worked on some of those shitty games. Look up Color a Dinosaur on the NES.
I will do that.
That was me, my friends. I mean, I didn't do the game. I did the audio for the game. And, you know, and so they had even abandoned that. We're not going to abandon that. Brings me back to my original opening statement. If it's that trust and value. The first time I put out a crappy, mediocre game, boom, I've just broken that trust. But if I can continue to come out, so I won't put out a crappy game. I'll either cut it, or I'll put in another $100,000 or whatever. I'll put in more money to get it to a level where I think it's good enough. To us, our internal scale, it has to hit at least a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. I don't want any 6s. Now, obviously, this is all, you know, everybody has their own tastes and this and that. Fine. You know, it's not a strict, I say it in general, to generalize, but that's our goal. Our goal is to at least get 7s out of 10s. And we've had some games in production where we're like, we ended up canceling them. It's like, yeah, it's a 5 and it's okay, but you know what? Let's take the loss because we don't think we can put enough money into it to get it to like even be a 7. And why would we want to put so much money to get a 7 when we got 2 8s already demos that we love? Let's put the money into that, right? So again, we're being selective. When did the game industry come out and say, you know what? Quantity over quality. Doesn't that seem what it is on the Switch, on Steam, on mobile?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody's like quantity over quality. Why? Why? If I can put out 50 new games a year to get you guys excited once a week, I can put out 1 new game. That's pretty cool. And you know that they're going to be a good quality game and all the games are $9.99 or less. Oh, and by the way, no violence. I bet you like that, Koerri. Right? I bet your wife's going to like that.
Yeah, for
we
the
don't
kids,
have
definitely.
games. No mature rated games, no teen rated games. So that's like teen rated is like PG-13. Teen rated means mild violence, mild sexual content, mild bad language. Screw that, gone. Right? We're like if you're thinking about it in movie terms, we're like from G to PG, right? That's what we're at. No violent, no. And again, I like a good shooter like the rest, but you let the other ones do all the blood and gore. You look at a game like Contra, that's an E10 game. You know, that Contra can go on our system. Castlevania can go on our system. If you shoot somebody and they fall down and blink and flash and go away, that's acceptable. Where it gets into the violent part is when, you know, you hit a guy and he's like, ah! You know, and blood shoots out of him, and you don't want water around that, you know. So we're keeping.
What do you think about side-scrolling beat 'em up? Oh, I didn't
That's
mean
a
to cut you
tough
off.
one, you know? Yeah. No, that's a tough one because from a parent's perspective, we've been doing a lot of research about that exact thing. Because you take a game like, what Streets of Rage or
That
Double
new one's
Dragon,
amazing, man. That new one is so good.
right? Very cool, right? Even like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so some of the Marvel stuff, where it gets a little close to crossing the line is that, like, we have games like tank games, and you're in a tank and somebody's in a tank and you're just controlling tanks and you can blow each other up. We have plane games where you can shoot each other down, but we never show people in the thing. They could be, it's an inanimate object, right? So there's not people in the tanks that you hear screaming and they're on fire and they go running out of the thing. That'd be pretty funny, but not for our system. So so as a child mind looks and says, oh, you know what? I'm never going to be able to go into a tank and blow up other tanks. It gets beyond the realm of like reality, right? But a side-scrolling game, and Koerri, from having young kids, is that they like to imitate what they see, right? And so imitating a tank, you can't really do in their imagination, but a beat 'em up.
Punches and kicks.
In the beat 'em up, you're kicking and you're fighting. And even if you're like beating up vegetables, let's say, what's your kid gonna do at dinner time?
Beat up vegetables.
You're gonna beat up vegetables, right? And so we're having a hard time with that one, Chris. Is there a way to do it where you're not using your fists and kicking? Can you have like a squirt gun or a shoot out bubble gum or bounce something? But Contra is okay, right? But picking up a bat and then beating someone over the head with it, God, that's a tough one for me because I think that's where it maybe crosses the line a little bit, I don't know. We're still thinking about it.
Maybe the characters could just hug the enemy and just do
Yeah.
that.
Well, see, like a wrestling game. Like a wrestling game's fine. And, we were even talking the other day about, because I like boxing games, right? I worked on many of the great boxing games in the industry. And actually won an award for best game of the year, best sports game of the year that I helped to design for EA. Knockout Kings, it was called.
Oh, yeah.
And it was funny because the other one that was up against it was Tony Hawk Pro Skater, which I also worked on.
Oh, wow.
And quite frankly, I was surprised. I was like, Tony Hawk should have won that, right? But I think EA had more employees voting. But anyway, what the hell was I talking about now? I forgot. I was telling my story about boxing games, sports games.
The beat 'em ups.
Oh,
beat 'em up,
John.
no,
Beat 'em ups.
we moved on to that. What was it? Shit, I forget now. Roll it back.
I can't remember.
We were just talking about. Damn it.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was
something transitioning from.
I'm all over the place. I apologize.
No, it's definitely okay. Yeah, we definitely appreciate you taking out time to talk to us. This definitely has been a great talk with you. You definitely have brought me closer into
Cool.
Picking up one of the Amicos. You definitely have changed my opinion. So we're looking at launch. You're looking at, what is it?
10/10/2020.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the date that we've been saying for almost 2.5 years now. I picked that date, 10/10/2020, because I'm the oldest. I'm 100% Italian, big Italian, close family. I'm the oldest, and I have a younger brother, and we had a sister in the middle. Her name was Karen. And she passed away, unfortunately, and she was handicapped as well. She passed away when she was 24 years old, and she was born on 10/10. And So that's part of the reason. It's a cool number, 10-10-20-20, but for me, it means a lot. It's kind of like my dedication to to my sister and my mom and everything. And so I'm trying my hardest to make 10-10, but the reality is this COVID shit. If not for this COVID and Corona zombie apocalypse bullshit, we were on schedule to hit 10-10. It may have to slip. I'm just being honest. Like right now, as we stand here today, we are going to make 10-10, right? But I'll give you an example of where it slows down. So one of the big things you do is you do tooling. Before you can create this, you have to create the tools that make all the, that form the plastics and all the things and put it all into place. And that costs about $250,000 for our machine. Well, we entered into that about 6 weeks ago, right? And so normally you get the tooling made, and they're made over in China. They're the only ones that produce this kind of stuff, unfortunately. I wish I could do the whole thing in the US of A, trust me. But you just can't. It just
we don't
doesn't
have the
exist.
capability, yeah.
Can't do it. Not even like, oh, what if you had, like, if the machines were $1,000? No, you can't. They just don't make this stuff. The components and the memories, and they don't make them here in the US. They only make them, right? So you go and you say, well, normally tooling takes maybe 2-3 weeks. They start sending over the tools, you FedEx them over, you approve them, you send them back, whatever. This one needs to be adjusted, you send that back. They send them back and forth. Usually a process that might normally take a month. Well, it's been like 6 weeks, and we've only gotten about half the tools back, half the tooling back, right? So you can see where everything is slowed down. And by the way, components are hard to get now. Memory is hard to get. It's like toilet paper and masks over here, right? Everybody, all the big companies are buying everything out. What happens when shit becomes scarce? Now the price starts to go up. Right. So now as the CEO, I got to say, man, I don't want to sell this for $300-400. I want to keep it under $199. That to me is the perfect price point. But right now we're at $249, and that's why we're giving more games, more controllers, more this and that, because the early adapters, they're fine, they zoom in, but the way that the industry goes in 7-year cycles is that when something comes out, it's here. By year 2, it's here. When you get into year 3 and 4 in your hardware consoles, that's when it explodes. So my goal is, can I get it down to $199 over the next 2 years? Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely, right? But we got this COVID crap that we're dealing with. So I say to myself, should I hold back the machine because I don't want to put it out at too high a price? So all these things. So and all these, delays and stuff. We're still locked down. You guys know, we're still in the middle of it. Some people are saying, hey, we're out of it now. The worst is behind us. Other people are saying, no, man, we haven't even seen the worst of it yet. But what we do know, and we're all in California here, we're locked down. We're locked down. We can't even go in the office and work together. How do you make hardware? Right. So as we stand today, if nothing goes wrong, and if the government and everybody said, hey, you can go back to work next week, we're on schedule to hit 10-10. If this thing lasts another month, there's nothing we can do to prevent, and we might decide at that point, you know what, we don't want to come around, Black Friday. We'll get lost in all that stuff. We'll get lost in it. Maybe it's better to hold it to Q1 2021, and then do it. So that's where we're at. It's a great, and that's the up to the moment, as we sit here today. What's the date here today? Because people will be watching this in the future. May 7th, 2020. As we stand here today, currently we're on schedule for 10-10, but every day that passes and we're still in this lockdown, that date's, starting to slip away from us. But like I said, because of my sister, man, if there's anything I can do to hit it, I'm going to hit that date. So, that's my goal.
I'm believing that works out for you, bro. For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure everything will work out. I mean, I look forward to it. You have me a lot more excited than I was before.
Cool.
Especially even with like the amount of titles that you want to launch with, things like that. We just had a podcast where that's what we were kind of talking about, the next gen. It's like, yes, we're excited for these consoles. We're excited for the capabilities of what they can do. But is it going to be another cycle of when they launch, we have bare bones, we get
10 games, 12 games.
Right. We have,
by the way, how many are going to be coach co-op on launch?
probably none.
Right?
Majority of we'll probably get a bare bones title. We'll probably get an NBA 2K that we get every year.
You get a Madden.
You know, right. So yeah. So I mean, you have me intrigued. You have me pumped. I've been looking at this GTO Red one as well.
You like that one? Is that your jam?
Yeah, that's definitely, I'm liking that. So
I can tell you, we're doing an exclusive with one of the big. So we announced last week, Galaxy Purple, and it's like this iridescent purple, and it's in that particular one. We're doing all these like exclusives. So that went on sale last week, pre-order at GameStop. So we're going to be in all the retail stores, right? GameStop, and again, we haven't announced them all. The only one we've announced is GameStop, and the two biggest electronics retailers in Europe, Media Market and Saturn. We're in there, so we've announced that. But we haven't even announced our U.S. partners yet. If you can imagine all the biggest places, that's where we're at. Okay, fine. And so one of our big retail, including Amazon and stuff, but one of our the biggest retailer in the world may get the GTO Red and as an exclusive there. So yeah, doing all these fun, the vintage wood grain is for more my style, like, you know, guys who grew up in the 70s and 80s.
I want that perp, Tommy. Let me get that perp.
You like the purple one?
Yeah, let me get that purple, man.
You know what's funny? I'll tell you a funny story. So my wife, Shannon, I said, look, I got to do one for her. I got to do one for the women, right? Because, you know, the white one, the women love as well a lot. You know, they really like the white one. Reminds them of the Apple stuff or whatever. So a lot of women like the white, and I'm like, let me do something like cool, fancy. Maybe your girl Koerri might, you know, we'll eventually do a pink one too, of course, for the little girls. But let's do and my wife's favorite color is purple, and she loves that, like that iridescent, you know, kind of purpley thing. And so I'm like, okay, so we designed one for Shannon and for purple, and I brought it to the office. We had it on paper and we had renders of it and stuff, and we started showing it around to everybody in the office, and like all the guys were like, I want the purple one now. I'm like, what? Yeah, it's amazing. Here's Chris, big tough guy. He's like a man's man, and he's like, Tommy, I want the perp. You know, and so that's the cool thing about the purple one, is that guys and girls like it. And I originally designed it just for women, but when you get into that dark purple, you know, when you get away from like the grape, you know, like and get into that really nice dark, that's a powerful color. Like it's Prince, baby, Prince. Yeah. I'm a big Prince fan, so I was like, we got to make Prince proud.
That's right.
Well, man, anyway. I think you did it.
Lakers. There you go.
KJ, do you have any more questions before we let Tommy have the rest of his night?
No, I just appreciate you coming out here, Tommy, and shining more light. I'm really impressed with the detail that is going into the controller and how you're making it accessible for lefties, righties, or whatever. I thought that's a really cool
colorblind too. So you notice, like in most things, green means forward and red means back. You know, that's pretty like kind of standard. But colorblind people can't see green. So we did blue and red. So blue is forward and red is back on our system.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that just goes to show the level of detail that you're actually putting into the console. And that's one of the things that really has me super intrigued. At first I was like, oh, you know, I was naive. I didn't really know what I was getting into. That's okay. But now with the level of information I have, you guys are really doing something special. You're putting a lot of thought into the console. you know.
Root for us, baby. Just
Oh
root
yeah,
for us.
definitely. I mean, I'm on Team Intellivision now, and this is kind of something I
Hey,
kind of noticed too. You know, just kind of doing some research online. You know, some people, you know, you just hitting like going on Reddit, just seeing what people say.
Oh, they hate it.
I notice a lot of people, there will be haters, and
Yeah.
then there will be those haters that end up having a conversation with you, and then it's like their whole thing is
Yeah.
completely changed.
And that's
So
why I do this. You know, that's why I do this at night. You know, I work really hard during the day. I usually get up at around 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, start my, Europe meetings or China meetings and work all day long. And then at 5, 6 o'clock rolls around my time. I'm doing interviews every single night. I got to spread the word. And now hopefully you guys will help me spread the word to
oh
friend and
yeah,
foe alike.
of
oh
course.
yeah.
You know it. Well, Tommy, man, I definitely want to thank you again for joining us. We definitely will be spreading the word about the Intellivision Amico here on the show. Whenever there's more updates, we'll definitely be standing by, you know, looking for them so we can give the people more information. Hopefully we can hit that 10/10 launch date. If not, you know,
If
hopefully
not,
quarter one.
yeah.
And we'll go from there. But I'm excited to see how things go. I'm pumped for the Amico. I know KJ Chris has been pumped about it for a while
Yeah.
now too. So we got your back, man. We'll help spread the word. Again, thank you so much for joining us. If you have anything that you ever need us to talk about, just shoot us, hit us up, let us know what you might need. We
I
definitely got your
appreciate
back,
that.
man.
Awesome. And let's do this again in a couple months. We'll give you all the update because we got so much crazy mic drop moment information and press releases coming over the next couple months. We were going to save it for E3 in June, but how'd that work out for us?
Yeah.
And then Gamescom was in
Right.
August over in Europe. We screwed the pooch on that one too. So we're going to just be, releasing info. So yeah, let's do it again in a couple months and we'll talk about all this new stuff. If you think the stuff I talked about tonight was cool, wait till you see some of the stuff that's not even out yet. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah, definitely. We can't wait to have you back.
Absolutely.
We'll
Cool, guys.
definitely help spread the word. We'll have all the information about pre-orders and everything on playlegit.net as well for people to find that
Cool.
information for you.
Thank you.
So we'll be in touch, and thanks so much, Tommy, for spending some time with us. Like I said, if you ever need anything in the future, we're here for you, and we will spread the word about the Amico for you, man.
Awesome. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
No problem
Thank
at
you.
all.